All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Hello, come back again to IP Live Session 4, which is the topic today that we will discuss is about microbes around us. And I would like to greetings for all of the audience that watching this video today from the Asia until the Pacific. And good afternoon, good evening, and good morning for you all. And before we start the sessions, it will be better if we know each other first. And I'm here as the moderator. You can call me 50. I'm from IP Cloud Project from Indonesia. And here we already have two amazing speakers that will share their knowledge and experiences regarding to the topic that we will discuss today. And maybe I would like to greet a friend from Fiji first. Good evening, Palawis. Hi, how are you today?
Good evening, 50. I'm good. How are you?
Okay, I'm very good too. It's nice to have you, even though it's a evening, right? We have a 5 hours different here. And okay, I would like to greet Afifa. Hi, Afifa. How are you today?
Hello, I'm fine. How are you?
Very, very fine here. All right, and without further ado, maybe we can start to have a discussion that, like I said before, we want to discuss about the microbes itself. And here, Afifa and Pallavi will talk about the microbes like specialize into their experience and knowledge, which you all guys can drop your questions regarding to microbes, whether it will affect the marine life or whether it will affect the uh, human or animal that live on land. You can drop the questions in the chat box, okay? And maybe we can start from the first questions, that very basic questions. Number one, about what is microbes and what is it used for? Maybe Afifa, can you explain a bit about it?
For me, microplastic polymers that have deliberately produced in a small size, less than 5 millimeters, and is often used in the composition of our personal care like body care, scrub exfoliators, hand sanitizer, makeup, and so on.
Okay. So it is a small particle. Okay, Halawis, do you want to add something about the microbeads itself? What is it used for in your opinion and perspective?
There is my perspective. Microbeads are manufactured solid particles that are less than 1 mm, 1 millimeter in their largest dimension, and they don't degrade or dissolve in water. However, plastic pollutions and because of microbead and microplastics, it has been a significant contributor to Fiji's environmental problems.
Mhm. Okay, so you guys already know that microbead is very small particle. Regarding to Palawis, he mentioned that it's a particle that less than 1 millimeter. It's a very, very small that maybe we will not realize that particle exists in our life or maybe in our water. We don't know, right? And maybe Palawis, where do you think the microbeads come from?
Basically, they come from microplastics when
Mhm.
the plastics are degraded and then small particles are left over. They are basically dumped through sewers to oceans, rivers, and then from there they are being. They have this physical and chemical features to adopt into other materials and other forms of powers. I would say.
Mm. All right. Thank you, Palawis. Afifa, where do you think the microbeads come from?
Uh, I think the microbeads came from microplastic, right? That have a long process. That process is from taking red raw and materials and petroleum and then processing it into naphtha and then plastic resin. That process produce a lot of carbon dioxide emission, more than 1.781 million metric tons of carbon dioxide.
So basically, the microbeads itself come from the plastic,
Plastic.
and right, and it's non-degradable. Of course, do you know that maybe there is a microbeads that degradable? No,
No.
what of you know there is a microbeads that degradable? No, right? So for you that watch this video, microbed is non-degradable and it comes from plastic, which is the plastic nowadays become our problem. And yeah, we are facing the same problem that maybe all that we know for all of this time is only the physical plastic that we can touch, physical plastic that in a big size, but now we have the new bed, which is microbed itself, that come from plastic, and it is very very small, and you cannot realize it maybe because the size is very very small. And okay, how can microbes affect the environment and its human and animal lives from your perspective? What is the effect of it? Maybe Palawas, what do you think about the effect of microbes?
Well, basically, we all know that microbeads come from plastics.
Mhm.
Just an example, once it's in the water, microbeads can have a damaging effects on marine life, the
Mhm.
environment, and human health. Generally speaking, when plastic particles break down, they gain new physical and chemical properties,
Mhm.
increasing the risk that they will have a toxic effect on organisms. And the larger the number of potential affect species and ecological functions, the more likely it is that toxic effects will occur. So,
Mm.
when we are talking about environment and its human and animal lives, from my perspective, I think it is a chain where microbes they affect the organisms from there to animals, from there to human. So it basically moves as a chain.
Mm. Okay. So basically, it will affect any lives, whether it's in marine or it's on land. True.
Yes,
And maybe
yes.
everybody want to add something. How can it affect the the human or maybe a life below water?
From my perspective, the microbeads that we use will go to the river flows and go to sea. And as long as on the sea, the fish, all the fish can eat that because their thing is a plankton because the size is very small, right?
Mm.
And back to microbeads function is to absorb the impurities such as dead skin cell after it flows to the river and stuck on the sea. The function will still work to absorb the impurities, so microbeads will absorb the impurities throughout their life.
Mm.
And in the end, we eat some of food came from the sea, like fish, shrimp, other or maybe even salt as a seasoning on our food. I think it can be a boomerang if we still don't care about that. And I think the beauty industry, especially in Indonesia, I think it's now being a trend. Everybody's going to be a beauty vlogger, and
Yeah.
in Indonesia is one of countries that here are in the coral world triangle. It's very
Mm-hmm.
important because the coral reef is supposed to be living place for the seaweed, microalgae, and others. And if the coral reef die, the seaweed will also die. So there is no photosynthesis on the sea, and it will and there is no apa there is no photosynthesis to absorb the carbon dioxide from the sea. That is from my perspective.
Okay. So the effect can reduce the photosynthesis and the ability to absorb the carbon dioxide. And all I know that this will lead also to the ocean acidification, which is there are a lot of number of carbon dioxide trapped on the ocean itself. And yeah, this is very dangerous because it is a very small particle, but why it can affect so many lives and causing many destruction, then this very very terrible. And um, what kind of the microbes that you know? I mean, like all I know that we have seven signs for recycle, like PET. What else? Polystyrene, and with what kind of microbes that come from in your perspective, in your best knowledge, Afifa?
Um, as far as I know, the name is like polyethylene or PE, nylon or PA, polymethyl methacrylate or PMMA, and polyethylene terephthalate or PET. So you can check if any one of the name inside on your ingredients, on your skincare ingredients. I mean,
Mm.
uh,
So basically, many we can find it many in the skincare or any place that we can find it.
Sorry, what?
So for the microbeads, is it only exist in the it is the skincare that we use, that women use skincare a lot.
Um,
Mm-mm.
no, it's also on the soap and hand sanitizer.
Mm. And also hand sanitizer.
Yeah,
Mm.
several hand sanitizer use microbeads as to absorb the impurities such
Mm.
bacterial on our hands.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, this is funny because these are the COVID situations that we know
Mm.
that a lot of people using hand sanitizer, and then okay, I will try to check my hand sanitizer. Is there any kind of uh, microbe that you mentioned before or not? Okay, okay, let's move to another questions. Okay, maybe this will talk to Afifa again. How if marine life continue to be polluted by the microbes, will the degradation become irreversible, or the degradation that we already feel right now, it's still reversible? What do you think?
I think it can be irreversible because plastic will be plastic, and we can resolve this. We just can stop to consuming it to stop the plastic. It
Hmm. For the degradation that happens, do you think it's already irreversible? Like you mentioned, the carbon dioxide still exists because exists a lot in the ocean because the microbes prevent the seagrass to have photosynthesis.
Yeah, I think it can be irreversible.
Okay, so in your perspective, the degradation, if we let this happen for many years, it will be irreversible, guys. So please take note and watch your product, okay, from the microbit itself. And okay, let's jump into Halloween. I have a question for you. Who will be affected most by microbes in the life on land? Is it humans, or is it plants, or is it animals? Who will be the most affected victim?
Well, in my previous answer, I did mention that microbeads, once it is been it is been on land, it affects the life on land as well. So human, plants, and animals, all all would be affected to microbeads. For instance, sewage is an important factor in the distribution of microplastics. So in fact, between 80% to 90%, 80 to 90% of plastic
Mhm.
particles containing in sewage, such as from garment fibers, receipts, said the study, and sewage sludge is often applied to fields as fertilizers, meaning that
Mhm.
several thousand tons of microplastics ends up in our soil each year.
Okay.
And microplastics can even be found in tap waters.
Mm.
And moving towards the surface, surface of tiny fragments of plastics may carry diseases. So when we are talking about animals and humans, so from one perspective, once the disease is been transferred to animals, it will be transferred to humans as well. So causing organisms act in a vector of disease in the environment, and it can, for instance, microplastics is also it also interacts with soil faunas, affecting their health and soil function.
So it basically affect many things that come from the
Yes.
fragments, and that, like you mentioned, do you think that we as human really realize that microplastic exists around us? Like you mentioned that it affect the harvest, it affect the animal, but do you realize that this has become the threat in our circle? I mean, like in our environment right now. In your perspective, followers.
In my perspective, yes, I think microbeads are around us everywhere. It's in our toothpaste, cosmetics,
Mm.
Even in, as Afifa mentioned, it's in hand sanitizer, and during this COVID period, we are frequently using hand sanitizer. So, yes,
Mm, yeah. So maybe not all of us realize that we are facing the new threat, that very small and maybe invisible thing. Like that's why maybe we are not, as human, we are not feeling that, oh, these microbats not really affecting us. I don't really care about it. Just like I ask some friends, like they just know about the microbats, they just know about the microplastic, and okay, because like I mentioned before, we mostly know that the plastic problem, that about this big size, that it's that visible thing that we can touch. That's a problem. But now we are facing the new thing that it's a micro, that then it's very small, and maybe you not realize that it harm you. That maybe we drink the microplastic, right? Because like Afifa mentioned, it comes to the ocean, and then I mean, following the water stream, and then maybe we eat the plastic also. We eat the plastic that we throw away through the fish, because the fish live in the sea, and human catch the sea, catch the fish, and we eat the fish. So basically, what we throw away get back to us again. It's very funny for nowadays, right? Okay, so okay,
yes, yes.
next question. How to tackle the microbags pollution? Okay, we'll ask Afifa first. What do you think?
How to tackle the microbeads pollution? I think as simple as we stop consuming it, it will bring a good effect for the climate, especially.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that this issue will get attention from government and industry also, so microbeads can ban on all the countries in the world. I think.
Mm, okay, and for you, Palawis?
The best way to reduce the impact is to
Hello, Palawis. I think we can't hear you. You're a little bit breaking.
entering the environment is basically reduce your use of single use
Mm-hmm.
and recycle properly.
Mm, okay.
The and when I mean by entering the environment, I mean is to reduce the use of single use plastics, recycle properly, participate and organize river cleanups, avoid products containing microbeads, and spread the word. Basically, support organization addressing plastic pollutions.
Mm-mm, true. Is there any thing that you want to add?
I
I'm a bit
think
lost with you because your connection
I,
breaking. Can you repeat for a bit what you said in the beginning?
I think the best way how we can prevent microbeads in entering in the environment basically reduce the use of single-use plastics. For instance, in Fiji, we have already banned. The government has banned plastic usage in Fiji, single usage,
Mm-mm,
since 1st January 2020. And then I think we need to support on these bans because these are some micro. We are talking about micro issues here,
mm,
and
true.
by supporting this, by addressing these plastic pollutions, I think yes, we can reduce the pollution rate in Fiji and Pacific region as well. Yes.
True. I totally agree with Palawis, because as the individual thing, I mean, like, if we want to make a big changes, we need to start from small steps, which is come from ourselves, before we push the upstream level, which is the government, to support us by releasing law or regulations that yeah, regulate the plastic itself. And I'm interested to know about your organization, which is in Fiji, Project Survival Pacific, right? What are you work in there, and maybe what are your experience? We will a little bit off topic, but I'm just a bit curious about your work there.
Basically, for in Fiji, Project Survival Plastic, we are basically a organization that promotes, conserve, and work on sustainable future.
mm,
And Project Survival Pacific has been in Fiji for more than 13 years now. We have already participated in COP 18, 19, 20, 22, 23, and we are the youths. We are the youths, and we want to show that yes, we can raise issues about climate change and climate issues that are affecting Pacific Islanders, and we would like to raise our voice globally and nationally.
mm. Well, it's very, very amazing to involve in a cult itself, and yeah, it is congratulations for you. I heard that you were selected to be representative in COP's 26, right, in the next year, November next year, 2021.
And that's correct. I have been
Yeah,
chosen to represent Fiji in MOC COP 21 to 26. Yes, thank you
wow,
very much.
it's very, very amazing, guys. You can hit him to ask more about what are the experience and what did he do so he can select it to be to represent the Fiji itself, and it is interesting. And maybe I want to know also about Afifa, as you're from Bold for Climate. Maybe can you tell what your work in there? Even though this is a bit out of the topic, but I think this can educate people, and who knows, they want to join the company. So.
Both for Climate are the project from Ocean Smile. Based on online project, we campaign to Both for Climate with a small step, of course, with a small step in every single activity, in every single thing that we consume every day. And
Mhm.
now we talk. And now I mean I I represent here to be campaigning the beauty without microbeads.
Mm, campaigning. Okay. So it's based on online campaign, right?
Yes.
Okay. That's very, very good. And for the Asia Pacific Climate Project, we are open for any collaborations. And we, yeah, we will welcome for everyone that wants to collaborate with us, who wants to have a live session like this. We will be open to accommodate, and yeah, because youth need to spread the power, youth need to extend the relation. We will welcome for any collaboration that will relate to environment also. And example like this boat for climate is our first time to have from Indonesia. Oh no, it's second time. In the second live session, we already have a bulk store, a zero waste store from Indonesia, and then we have organization again from Indonesia, and then we're looking for any organization from maybe in South Asia, North Asia, or even in the Pacific region also. So feel free to contact us. Okay, back to the topic again. And I will ask the next questions about, okay, this will belong to Afifa. For the polluted marina, is there any technology or solutions by the international government that are reducing or decontaminating it? What kind of effort that maybe local, national, or even international government already do?
As far as I know, all the global solutions are to remove the debris from the ocean through technology such as the ocean cleanup owned by Buoyan Salt. But in Indonesia, to manage the rubbish, we have a hydrothermal biomass waste treatment technology to converting waste into another product that's useful and eco-friendly, like animal feed, and then solid fuel as a substitute for the coal, like that. We have hydrothermal in Indonesia.
Hydrothermal in Indonesia?
Yes, that we have hydrothermal in Indonesia to converting the
Mm,
plastic into another product that useful and eco-friendly, like animal feed, and then solid fuel, substitute for the coal, like that.
mm, okay. For the Indonesia, yeah, maybe for because I'm from Indonesia, and I see that for that technology, I guess this is just my new knowledge, about the hydrothermal to convert such of that waste into the energy also. And this is, I think, a good movement. But do you think the government need to develop something, or what do you think? Because like we know, the problem comes from the upstream to the downstream. It means
Mm,
like we as the consumer, especially especially in this pandemic situation, we buy food by online. We take away the food from restaurant using many plastics, and sometimes it is not degradable, and it is not bioplastic. Um, yeah. Do you think that it is needed to regulate from the customer itself? Because if I'm not mistaken, Indonesia has implemented um, a plastic. We need to pay for plastic bag maybe how 200 rupees for each, but it is
mm,
not work, right?
mm.
And yeah, I think we still need to fix and ratify to be more consistent. Because if we see Bali province, which is represent a good example for plastic ban. Maybe I don't know how is in Fiji to implement it. Is it consistent or have a ups and down like in Indonesia? But for me, in my city right now, there's no plastic bans and like that. And we want to like copy the regulations in Bali. I don't know. It will depend on the government again. And do you think it's needed to have such as that regulation?
I think it's important because several cities in Indonesia, like Bali, like you said, Jakarta, Bekasi, Balikpapan, and others, and several maybe, it it's already banned single-use plastic. Now, if we want to groceries, we have to own our plastic bags.
Mm.
Get so the groceries not sell the plastic like 20,000 like you said now. Several countries ban on single-use plastic, and in Indonesia, through the Food and Drug Regulatory Agency called BPOM, has issued the latest regulation of number 23 in 2019 on August 22, 2019 about regarding the technical requirement for cosmetic ingredients has included ban on microbeads. It's regulated.
It is already regulated.
Yes.
Mm. Because I still saw some brands for
Mm,
this for the body scrub. It's still containing, if I'm not mistaken, PET,
mm,
polyethylene, and yeah, and I think the government should consistent whether the producer that wants to use plastic as the ingredient should pay more for the tax. Maybe I don't know. Yeah,
yeah.
that's the thing that I think that governments should pay attention more. And in Fiji, do you guys need to pay for the plastic bag? Because in Indonesia, you need to pay maybe 0.1 cents dollar. It's very small number. Do you need to pay for the plastic bag in Fiji?
For the plastic bags in Fiji, we basically in since January 1st, 2020, we have a plastic ban. So at the moment, all the plastics below 5 to 1 has been banned in Fiji. So what some of the new alternatives that we have brought is using of nets in order to pack fruits, using of paper bags. So for plastics, no, we don't have to pay anything because we don't have plastics for shopping.
Mm. Literally no plastic like that.
Well, basically, there's a thicker plastics which is allowed in Fiji, but for the shopping, there's no plastics.
Mm. Wow, it is very, very amazing. Is there any protest from the customer?
Well, nothing so far because the public is also the youth public, the islanders. They are all supporting for the plastic bans.
Mm, that's very very good. In here in Indonesia, maybe Afifa understand how the people complaining about paying the plastic bag.
Right.
Yeah, but this will back to the behavior again. How can the government and we as the youth and the grassroots community push the people to have a more green lifestyle, more sustainable behavior, such as like that. And yeah, this still the homework for another country that not imposing any plastic regulation so strict like in Indonesia. So yeah, this can be taken note for us. And okay, continue to the questions. What should we do as the consumer to avoid products that contain microbeads? What are the alternative products? Maybe uh, from the beauty enthusiast, Afifa? What do you
Um, we can change it by natural ingredients like sugar, coffee, Himalayan salt, lemonade, apple cider vinegar, oatmeal, and other maybe. Or we can still buy beauty products not containing microbeads. So our job is to choose the product not contain microbeads. If there still any product that contain microbeads on the market, we have to choose.
Mm. So we can change into natural scrubs like that.
Yeah,
Have
yeah.
you ever used kind of natural scrub?
Um, Personally, I already use a coffee as a scrub, and it's a good scrub because it smells good and it will make your skin smooth, same as microbeads, but it's more eco-friendly.
Mm, true. So for the coffee, okay, I think I will try to use that because it's easier and it's cheap, right? To get.
Yeah,
Okay, I will
it's
take note
easy
for
to
that.
find coffee.
Mm. And Palawis, what do you think? How to avoid the product that contains the microbeads on your perspective, and what did you do about it?
Oh, well, on my perspective, we are uh,
Mm.
for the organizations here in firms here making shampoos. They are currently using readily available natural alternatives. For example, where the microbeads are there in shampoos for scrubs, so they are using alternative methods such as coconut scrubs in shampoos. So
Okay.
basically, everything is used naturally. They are using almonds, they're using oatmeals, and making the phase out
Mm.
of synthetic. And for the microbeads, I would say for the plastics, when we're talking about straws, the plastic straws, we are now using alternatives such as steel straws, bamboo straws. That's some of the alternatives
Mm.
that at the moment Fiji is currently working on.
Oh, is it spread broadly, or is it still exclusive for some group of society? I mean, like, is it already wide regulates like that to use the stainless to change the microbeads with the natural resource?
Well, at this moment, the society, the organization, everyone is now altering to the new alternative.
Oh, so is it easy to find example bamboo straw? Is it to
Yes,
find buy it in somewhere?
we have it naturally produced in Fiji, so it's basically available in Fiji. So they're using bamboo straws, steels. I have heard that they are using seed straws as well. When I'm talking about seed straws, I mean paper straws. They have their
Mm.
brand names, seed straws. So yeah, they're using paper straws as well.
Oh, so there are a lot of alternatives that provides, and is it supported by the government, or is it just the grassroots work to push people?
Basically, it is supported by the government. Whichever task that an organization or youth, public communities would like to do, government is always there for us.
Mm. Oh, that's a very good work in Fiji. It's really impressed me as someone that maybe still, yeah, we are still fighting for educate people here, right, Afifa?
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. For the last questions, are there any policy? Is there any policy or laws that regulate the microbeads so far? What can we suggest to the government or the policymaker to rectify some of the law or regulation itself to tackling this problem? Maybe Palau is. Do you know about it?
Basically, in Fiji, there's a newly amended legislation.
Mm,
It was amended under the Budget Amendment Act 2019 by the Environmental Management, which defines that plastic bags as a carry bag is entirely made of polypropylene, and manufacture, sale, or supply and distribution of plastics have been banned. So new legislation has taken place in, and a there's a ban towards the plastic bags, and this also reflects that this legislation changes leading to plastic bans were part of suits to measure and to create or and to reduce the impact of plastic pollution, that reduces the amount of uh, waste going into landfills. As I mentioned above, that uh, almost 80 to 90% and 3,000, 4,000 tons of microbeads are being dumped in landfills. And this legislation is in place to strengthen Fiji's recycling options.
mm. So, for the national, is it national or still local? I mean, like for the local government, or is it already in national government?
It's a national government throughout Fiji. It's a plastic ban.
Oh, it's national already.
Yes, it's national already.
Oh, okay. That's very, very great. How about the international level? Do you know that any work or effort done by maybe United Nations Environment Program or such as international government like that? Do you know about it or?
Basically, in COP23, our Prime Minister he was highlighting
Mhm.
on plastic bans, and on the international level, I would say that yes, we have also supported many islands, Pacific islands such as Tuvalu and Palau for these bans and for the support.
Oh, so there are a lot of contribution I think from the Fiji because uh, this is my perspective. Fiji as the island that um, first one most affected by the climate change for rising the sea level and also in the Pacific Ocean we know that there is uh, garbage patch which we know it is big a big island not island but how to say it's a big patch come from the accumulation for the waste that come from Asia and in the Pacific and it gather in there and it will be more bigger and if we not take action to reduce it, it will be a problem in the future because it later it will not only polluting the ocean but also polluting some lands, some islands in
Hmm.
especially in Fiji. Is it true? This what I know about it. Hello,
Y-
is it
y-
true?
Yeah, that's true. Whatever you have said, yes, that's true. For instance, Kiribati, we look at Kiribati. It's currently going underwater. Tuvalu as well, it's going underwater. So yes, because of climate change and action taken by other regions, now Pacific region has been being affected directly.
Hmm.
Yes.
Yes, that's very, very true. Okay. Thank you, Palawis, and I will move to Afifa. What do you think about the some regulations in Indonesia that regulate microbeads or even maybe microplastic itself?
Um, like I said, like I said before, in Indonesia through BPOM, through the Food and Drug Regulatory Agency, has issued the latest regulation number 23 of 2019. It's about regarding the technical requirement for cosmetic ingredients, and that has included ban on microbeads. I think it can be more socialized, so the industry, we as a personnel, we can know that microbeads is banned on our countries like that.
Mm, yeah.
Mm.
Do you know maybe any international effort or regulations that done by international government to tackle about the microplastic problem?
Mm, as far as I know, correct me if I'm wrong, Wes. Other countries like US, Canada, UK, and Australia already banned on microbeads since 2018. And in Asia, correct me if I'm wrong, Japan is also banned on microbeads on 2018. So, yeah.
Uh, okay, thank you, Afifa. So basically, we already have regulations to regulate the skincare or cosmetic products to avoid the microplastic or microbeads ingredients. And this additional, but I forgot the exact law, the name, but Indonesia already um, committed to reduce, if I'm not mistaken, 80% of marine debris because the problem right now comes not only about the micro because microplastic is a part of the micro marine debris itself and
Mm,
this Indonesia already committed to reduce the marine debris itself because Indonesia is, I think it's similar as Fiji. We are islands country. There are so many islands and this this affects not only the human life on the land but also the the biodiversity that we have on the sea itself. And yeah, um, I think every country already committed to do reducing the microplastic, the marine debris, and it is just about the implementation matter, whether it is effective or how can we support the government, how can we as the society, and especially in the youth that work in organizations that focusing on environment. So yeah, let's just start to helping the government itself. And okay, I think I want to read the comment section in our Facebook page. Do we have some questions here? Wait a second. Okay. Okay, we have two questions here from Zuel. How can we reduce microplastics? Is there any solutions? I think we already discussed about this in the beginning, but maybe you can just give highlights for a bit. We can start from Afifa.
Um, from my perspective, to reduce the microbeads, we can stop using or consuming it by changing to natural ingredients like coffee, sugar, oatmeal, Himalayan salt, lemon, apple cider vinegar, and other. Or we can still buy a beauty product or others or hand sanitizer maybe that not contain microbeads inside.
Okay, that's
Hmm?
from Afifa. Is there anything that you want to add?
From my perspective, yes, in order to reduce microwaves, we can reduce the use of single-use plastics, moving to alternative methods that Afifa just mentioned. Um, Also using uh, available natural alternatives such as almonds, oatmeals, bamboo straws, paper straws. So yes, these are some solutions, and yes, we are also working on more solutions that we can use in order to reduce microbeads.
Yeah, true. That's very, very true. So basically, what we can do, trying to go to it, more nature ingredients like the coffee, oatmeals, or anything else, and that's for the microbeads. But we all know that microbeads itself not only just directly come to the small items and not come only come directly into small size, but it can come from the big size, like the degradation of the plastic products such as the plastic bags or anything like that. So basically, reducing the plastic use will be the best way also to reduce the microbeads and microplastic itself. And yeah, that's I think that's already very clear for us. And we move to the second questions. This is from Henry. How is your insight about efforts to reduce microbeads to counter microbeads problems for climate change? So yeah, basically, it will talk about how that's the question of pop up. So it basically talk about how this efforts to reduce microbeads will affect the climate change itself. The climate change that caused by microbeads, in your perspective. Okay, do you guys get the question? Okay, Palawis. I think Palawis have a problem, connection problem. For Afifa, what do you think?
Um, I think to reduce microbeads, it's mm, to stop consuming that microbead itself and reduce plastic, consuming the plastic as much like we talked before. Plastic can be degrade, can be microplastic too. So, the microplastic will be problem for climate change because microplastic will can make the greenhouse effect that make getting earth hotter and hotter. Maybe in our future it will be getting much hotter than this day, like that. The greenhouse effect plastic
Mm, true.
that plastic make, it will bring the earth getting hotter, and it will effect for the climate change.
Yeah. So basically, I don't know. This is just my best knowledge about how this plastic also affect the climate change, but it will not affect directly, like maybe the emission that that come from the transportation or motorbike that directly produce carbon dioxide or any greenhouse gases, but it the mechanism will be start from the factory or how we produce the plastic itself. Of course, it will it will affect, like you mentioned, the greenhouse and the carbon footprint, because in I don't know exactly how the plastic production in the details, but all I know that the plastic production needs more energy, which is come from coal, and the coal burning needs will produce the greenhouse gas, and then beside energy we need to have anything that anything that process the any process will produce the carbon footprint, and that cause that the total of carbon footprint that produced by the plastic production itself, that will affect the climate change. That's I think that's what Henry means. Like, okay, Palawis, what do you think about this question?
For the reduce of microbeads to counter microbeads problem for climate change. Okay, for instance, we take Vanuatu. It's in the Pacific region, so pollution of plastics into oceans will increase actually the temperature of the sea, ocean temperature of the ocean, and because of this, Pacific islands and the other islands, basically all into Pacific region, are being affected by this. So yes, when we are moving from when we're moving from microbeads to counter microbeads, uh, there are a lot of problems in related to climate change. So sea level temperature, it's also been rising, and uh, for Vanuatu region, yes,
Mm. Do you think plastic can cause climate change?
yes, yes. It is an factor of climate change, plastics, because of plastic pollution. For
Mm.
instance, as we discussed earlier, that plastics they degrade, they become microplastics, they degrade, they become microbeads, and then microbeads they are in pollution.
Mm.
They affect landfills, the environmental. So yes, it's a basic chain. It is affecting the climate change, and it is in factor. That's all.
Yes, true. So basically, all of everything that come from in a degradation materials will take part to be some factor that leading to the climate change. And I think, yeah, this is not only we trying to save our life, that maybe we don't want to eat the plastic that we throw away. Okay, we cannot just be that selfish, but also, okay, let's try to save the plants that will avoid it by the plastic toxifications, or maybe the marine life that will affected by like inhibiting the photosynthesis or something like that. So yeah, we as the human, as um, s- the the leader on the earth, we need to take part, not only to save ourselves, but to save everything that already provide on the earth. And to close our session today, maybe I want to ask about your closing statement that you want to deliver for to be remembered by the youth or the audience that watch this session. Okay, maybe from Palawis. Palawis, can you hear me? Okay, maybe we can start from Afifah first.
For me, we as a human being, it's our responsibility to protecting the climate. So we can start by small thing in our life, like stop consuming it, stop consume the plastic, stop consume the microbeads, stop consume the microplastic. I think it will bring a good effect if we all contribute by a small thing and support the government.
Mm, okay, so yeah, basically we can do many things, right, Aviva? And
Yeah.
maybe while waiting for Palawis, we can, maybe you want to add something that about regarding to the microbats that maybe you think, oh, this is need to understand by the audience.
Hmm, I think uh, microbeads is around us, so we have to choose the product. If we can buy product, we have to look at the ingredients carefully if there are any microbeads on inside or not.
Mm-hmm.
I think it will help us to indicate if the product contain microbeads or not by look the ingredients before you buy.
Yeah, and as the youth that work in organization, what do you want to deliver to the government?
Um, Hopefully the government will be get attention from our topic today, and the climate change will be up, uh, and we can protect the climate more and more again. So we can make a better world.
All right, thank you, Afifa. Palawis, please do a closing statement for the session.
Closing statement for this session, I would say, well, everyone knows what microbeads are. Some may not know what microbeads are, and it is our responsibility as youth, as the youth leaders, and as the youth advocate for youth voices for climate action. I think yes, it's our responsibility to tell them educate them about the microbeads and how it is directly and indirectly affecting us in our lives. And because of microbeads, we are being affected in our food chain. As Afifa mentioned about oceans, that it's all about the cycles. So I think yes. Since one more thing I would like to add is that since Fiji has reduced and stopped and has a ban on plastics for the microplastics between 5 mm to 1 mm and below, I think we should ban all the plastics because the most harmful, one of the most harmful things is plastics itself. And one more thing I would like to add is that the thick plastics that can also cause pollution, they can also uh, be used after they degrade. They would also be one of the important, the most harmful effect and product on us, on ourselves.
All right. Thank you so much,
Yes.
Palavis, for your closing statement. And by that closing
Uh,
statement, so it means that our session already ended. But don't worry for you guys. We will still have many live session in the future, which we will have another amazing great speaker that will discuss about some interesting environment issues. And I would like to say thank you so much for Afifa and Palawis for your time and for your availability. And I'll see you soon. Bye bye. See you
Bye.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Thank